Hey guys, it's Mary. It is Saturday night at 7 p.m. and that means it's time to do a video. So hopefully y'all are settling in and going to enjoy the card that I have for you today. So let me get started, rebooted over here on the left. Not rebooted because that would take like an hour, but refreshed just to be sure that I'm actually transmitting into the ether. Ah, yes I am, and it looks like we've got some folks coming on. Soon, I'm just sure that soon I'll be able to see the there we go. Hi, Barbara. How are you? Hi, Nancy. Hi, Jean. Glad you could join me, Jean. I hope Donna is doing well and that you're getting some of the rest that you need as well. Hi, Wendy. Hey, Barbara. So glad you could join. I was sitting here just kind of twiddling my thumbs thinking, wow, for once I'm actually ready to start on time. That's just crazy talk. I guess I'm starting to kind of get the hang of this whole retired thing. All of a sudden I feel like I'm a little ahead of the game, which scares me because I have like this extra time on my hands, and that always makes me pretty certain I have forgotten to do something. Okay, hey Amy, thank you for joining. Hi Jerry, hi Holly. Hello Jean. I was glad to see what you wrote there, Jean Moss, about Donna doing well, starting her rehab. So she's on the road to recovery. Okay, so this is the card that I gave you the sneak peek of. It wasn't a very sneaky peek. I'm pretty sure you had figured out before we started that we were going to play with the free skate stamp set and the matching and bundled detailed skate dies, which are fun. They look like that. They have a lot of fun things on them. And then I also pulled out one of the dies in the Christmas Layers bundle. This is bundled with the Itty Bitty Christmas Sentiment stamp set, but I did not use that. I just used this, that's called a snowflake. Yes, it's a snowflake, a precious snowflake. All right, so this is the card we made. You'll be glad to know I've already done a little bit of pre-cutting for you so that you don't have to just watch me grinding through the big shot, because hello, anybody can do that, right? And then this is the inside. Okay, so let's get started, shall we? Okay, all of these die cuts and whatnot will be on the website tomorrow, so you don't have to worry overly much about writing those down. Hey Mary, hi Patricia, hi Carol. Yes, I'm starting to really love being retired as well. A friend of mine is kind of keeping me up to date on the happenings and the goings on in my old office, and I'm not at all sorry to be missing it, so it's all good. Okay, so like I said, I've done a few die cuts. We'll set those aside for just a second. This is going to be for my sentiment. I've got a Cherry Cobbler card base, 4 1/4 by 11, scored and folded at 5 1/2. And then I've got 2 soft seafoam mats. Here's the second one. Had a little panic there. I've got a piece of the Feels Like Frost Specialty DSP. Remember, the other side has beautiful silver foil and white designs, and this is kind of a snowflakey one. Snowflakey, that's a real word. And then I have some white for the inner liner and, of course, our envelope. So let's set that aside, and we'll go ahead and start building our card. Shall we? So, thank you, Barbara. Thank you. Yeah, Mary, we have been, we're up, oh gosh, now we're in about the mid 80s today, but in the morning it's actually cold. I would go outside to feed in my shorts and t-shirt, and it's a little bit too chilly, but it doesn't take very long for it to catch up. Fortunately, the humidity is quite low, so that is helping a lot. Okay, so I've just used some liquid glue to adhere this piece of the Feels Like Frost Specialty DSP to the card front. Before you came, I cut 2 of the snowflakes. This is the die I was just telling you about in the Christmas Layers die. And isn't that pretty, in pretty peacock foil from the Noble Peacock Foil sheet set. Don't lose track of all of the goodies that are in the annual catalog, y'all. It's easy to do that when we get a little obsessive. Not going to say we don't, and I'm certainly guilty of that as well. But don't forget, we have quite a few wonderful tools. stop the presses. I need to be sure y'all know and have looked at the clearance rack, and I know I'm kind of harping on this. I'm stomping my foot. You can't see it. Maybe you could hear it. The new color Stamp and Write marker set is on the clearance rack for $19.20. When you do the math, that's $1.20 per pen. And if you do a little more math, that is 60 cents per tip. Okay, you get a bullet and a brush, so 60 cents per tip. Can't beat it with a stick. Whether you need those colors to fill out your stash or you just want to have some a backup like I do, please, please, please get over to the clearance rack and get that down. Okay, that is the end of our public service announcement. We'll get back to our regularly scheduled event. Okay, so I'm going to use some little dabs of liquid glue. Hey, Fran. Hey, Kathy. Thank you, Mary. You've been making mistakes all day. Yeah, I have the same kind of issue. All right, so I'm just going to use some little dabs of the liquid glue. Remember, this liquid glue is really potent. You shouldn't need too much of it, and it's also really easy to make it go way too far, like every which way from Sunday. All right, so I'm just putting a little bit here and there, hither and yon, to and fro, on my die, and I'm going to adhere both pieces to the card front in exactly the same way. Let's get this one pulled up. Be sure I've got all my hanging chads off. I do not. All right, there we go. So, have you guys had a good weekend? Wayne dropped couple of trees. We had a couple of pine trees. Pine trees, I think, were put on the planet to look very beautiful, drop stuff all over the place, and then when you least expect it, fall and topple to the ground. If you're lucky, all they hit is your road. If you're not lucky, they hit your wood fence and you have to repair fence. And if you're really not lucky, they hit your garage or your house. So he spent some time today knocking down a few before so that we could control that narrative a little bit. All right, and then we'll put the other one here, like so. It kind of overlaps, and that's fine. I don't want it to be too huge, but that's okay. All right, so there's that. Now we're just going to set that aside and let it think about being dry. I'll close up my liquid glue. Got some tomato juice done. Oh, you are so industrious. I am terribly impressed by that. I've still got tomato sauce sitting in my pantry from a summer or two ago when I got all industrious. Okay, now I cut 4 skates. Okay, these are all soft seafoam. So my color palette is soft seafoam, pretty peacock, and cherry cobbler, which is a very nice, slightly traditional, slightly non-traditional color scheme. So my thought here was to layer these 2 skates. They look, as they're sitting here, like they would just layer perfectly, but the truth of the matter is that is not how Stampin' Up! Designed them. So I had to do a little modification. Let me see if you can see what happens here. You can see that the skate doesn't look correct on the detailed die when it is layered over the solid die. So I did a little surgery. Hey, Sharon. Oh, hey, Sue, how was that meeting? I think it must have been like our Stamp-Timber meeting. Did you have a good time? So all I'm doing is I'm just cutting the skate off of the bottom of the detailed die cut. So pretty simple fussy cutting. Just follow the contour of the bottom of the boot and go all the way across there like that. And then we'll do the other one as well. He didn't drop them on the house. No, he did not drop them on the house. He actually dropped them exactly where he wanted them. He had, but I've got a picture of it laying down. I was in the kitchen and I heard a giant crash. I knew he was pushing trees, but I wasn't sure how successful he was going to be. They were less than interested when he was trying yesterday. They didn't really want to go. But I heard the crash and I went and he had laid it exactly where he wanted it, which was not on the house, not on the garage, just on the road a little bit. So it worked out perfectly. And he even got his chainsaw out and got everything cleaned up, and we don't even have a mess across the road, which is crazy. So, isn't it a hockey skate? There are no toe picks at the front of the blade. Oh, well, you have way exceeded my knowledge of skates. And if it is, then this is a very in touch and confident in his manhood ice hockey dude. Because I'm making this a pretty feminine, not to assign a gender unfairly, but this is a relatively feminine skate. So then I'm just laying this detailed die over the top of the solid die, and that just gives kind of a tone-on-tone embossing look, which I like. Okay, we'll do the same exact thing on the other one. Here we go. Not a whole lot of liquid glue is needed. Just some on the bigger parts of the die cut, just to be sure it kind of stays there. Because, you know, coming off would be bad, as it would be in real life if your skate came off in the middle of a... Darn it, now I'm going to be thinking it should have been a hockey... No. It must just be like... yeah, I got nothing. Maybe it's a hockey skate. I don't know. But this is a figure skating skate, and she left her toe pick at home. Yeah. Okay, yeah, I know that's not a thing. Yeah, you know, Roz, it actually probably is a hockey skate, if I thought about it, but I just don't really know. And I don't think that with all of these sentiments and this image here... Oh, look. Toe pick. So if you stamped it and then just cut the solid one out, you would have the toe pick. There you go. Whew. Boy, that was close. Okay, now I'm going to take my Stampin' Write marker in Cherry Cobbler. Never underestimate the usefulness of your Stampin' Write markers. That was a plug. And I'm going to hand draw in some Cherry Cobbler laces. And I'm just kind of making it here. If you stamp this, the laces are already stamped in for you and you can just color them. But since I did not stamp them, but I still wanted some laces, I improvised. Improvising is the key to modern air power. Oh, no, wait, that's flexibility. Sorry. I am mixing my cliches. Okay, and then we'll do this other dude, like so. And these kind of get covered up just a little bit, but it's the thought that counts, right? So for those of you who are homemaker types, first off, I applaud you. Second, I want to tell you about a cookbook. I just had we just did our first recipe from a cookbook that I got from one of my downlines this week. And it's a great cookbook. It's a shameless plug. I don't even know if they've still got them anymore, and I get no royalties at all. But this is the coolest little cookbook. It's from the Fairfield Women's Club in Fairfield, Iowa. And it's got all sorts of wonderful things in it, including a history of the Elizabeth McElhaney house. And then it's got some of her recipes right at the start, which is fun. And all the way through, the people who have submitted recipes, in particular Julie, who has added many anecdotes and little stories with each of the recipes. And there's bunches of little sayings on the pages, like ideas are funny little things, they don't work unless you do. Really fun. Let me just tell you what, this is not a calorie counter's cookbook, okay? Well, you can, but you're going to have to be able to count really, 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 really high. So, yes, it's not a health food cookbook, but the recipes are really cool. We had a corn casserole tonight. Okay, so now I'm going to adhere my skates. I'm going to do a quick dry fit, and then I'm going to do something before I make a mistake. So that's how they're going to go on. Before we do that, I think I should put the blade on. Now, let me just tell you what. Again, this was not really meant to be done this way, so you're going to want to just snip a little bit off the top of each blade rung thing right there, just like that. It's not very much, no measurement required, just cut a little off, you'll be fine. And that is just so that it butts up against that detailed die a little better. Okay, so a little bit of a liquid glue. A little bit of a liquid glue, yeah. I don't know about Iowa books in general, Iowa cookbooks in general, Amy, but this one is quite good. And Julie has a lot of recipes in it. And fun stories from when she was cooking, raising her children. So that was kind of cool. It's interesting. Okay. And so we'll just lay that against that. And just FYI, there is a toe pick on this little die cut. Look. Right there. Toe pick. There you go. Okay. And then we'll set the other one on the same exact way. The exact way. Hey guys, mark your calendar, the 5th of October. We are doing a Facebook Live event for most of the day in celebration of World Card Making Day. So we'll get more information out to you on our blog posts as we get a little closer, but do mark it. It'll be fun. We're going to have lots of giveaways, and a bunch of us are going to do some demonstrations of cards and make some cards for you and give away some prizes, and basically we're just going to have a good time. So that will be fun-ske. Okay, let's redo our dry fit since I got a little ahead of myself earlier. Okay. All right, we're going to make them be at kind of a jaunty angle like that. Now this bottom one I'm going to adhere with liquid glue. I think all the recipes have to be good as nobody's going to put in a bet. True that. I am toe picking on you, Roz. No, I'm not. Now I'm just worried about it. Why isn't there a toe pick? These are the things that I worry about. Important, earth-shattering things like that. Thank goodness I found it so that I wouldn't have to worry about it at 2 a.m. Because I don't like to give you guys bad stuff, right? Just like nobody wants to give a bad cookbook recipe. Okay, now this other skate, the top skate, I'm going to put on with some dimensionals. Please watch. You will not very frequently see me cut dimensionals, but I'm doing that now so that I can use my little edges. And I'm also going to cut some little strips to go on the blade to support it. Get rid of that dimensional cover. Normally I don't believe in Stampin' Dimensional abuse like this, but in this case, the ends justify the means. Just saying. I'll put one right here. All right, and then I'm gonna cut a strip for the blade. I know. Normally I wouldn't do it, but I want to use these edges, and they're not even dimensionals. These aren't dimensionals. These are strips. These are dimensional edges. They're not really dimensionals. They don't qualify as dimensionals. They're strips on the edge that still have sticky on them. And so I want to use them, which requires cutting. Okay, let me put those back. Cut that in half. Okay, now that one I just did straight up cut in half. That one, you're right to get on me about that one. Because that strip I did cut in half. Get on there. Get on there, booga. Okay. Now, it helps when you are laying over the top of something, it helps to put your dimensionals on and then set it back down to be sure it's going to lay correctly so that you have time to fix that before you get it stuccoated. All right. Did you guys, anybody go see Downton Abbey today? Or wait, yesterday. Yesterday it came out. The Downton Abbey movie is out. I don't think we're going to go to the theater for that. That's not one that I would normally say needed to be seen on the big screen. It's a little, those are the Star Wars and Star Trek and other franchises that Amy doesn't know the difference between. Okay, we'll get him on there like that. But not Downton Abbey, but I will be seeing it. Hopefully it won't take too awfully long to get into Redbox. All right, hey Janie, welcome. All right, now I cut with the very adorable and hidden this little This is really one of the coolest ribbon bow dies that I've seen us have for a minute. Very cute. And so I cut it out of a piece of cherry cobbler, and I'm just going to adhere it at the top of our skate. And it's going to hang down kind of like that. Okay. And it can just sit there for a minute while we move on with the rest of our card. Now, on a piece of Whisper White, I am going to stamp our sentiment in Pretty Peacock. It will be on Netflix before long. That is a true statement. And the popcorn is so much cheaper at home. So much cheaper. So I'm just stamping that on some Whisper White. Hold it for a beat or two to get a good image. Yes, I could have used my Stamparatus, but that seemed like overkill to me. And then I'm going to use the Everyday Label Punch and cut that out. Gosh, I wish you guys could have seen the number of iterations I went through on this card. Good Lord. I was trying to force it into a sketch challenge and it just didn't want to go. And I kept trying and trying and trying because, like a bulldog, I wasn't going to give up. But then I finally did. Now, brush tip of my Stampin' Right marker in Cherry Cobbler and just run it along the edge. Like so. Don't want to spend too much time so that it gets kind of bleedy into the label. That's not ever pretty, especially in Cherry Cobbler. And that was an interesting choice of words. Bleedy with Cherry Cobbler. Yeah, not so much. Okay, and then this is going to nestle in the bow like so. So I'm going to put a dimensional here and here and some liquid glue over here. All right, easy peasy. Dimensional, make sure it's still in the same place I said. And yes, I'm cutting another dimensional because I want to use my strips up. That's all, it's all viable. It's all viable. Just saying, not Bible, viable. Okay. And then we'll put some liquid glue on the other edge, like so. And hope we still have it right. And then kind of let it set in there like so. And then I'm going to look at it to be sure it's at least halfway straight. I don't care if it's full up straight, but it should at least be halfway straight, right? Okay, now here's a little trick. You'll see, if you look in there, you'll see that the one dimensional on this end was not enough. So I'm going to stick a second layer of dimensional under there, okay? That way it's supported and it doesn't wiggle around because it's weird. And if it should get down and stick, then it would be stuck all weirdified, which is a word, just so you know. All right, so I'm just sticking that under there on the second dimensional, and then when you push it down, it's all even, Steven. Even. I like even. Okay. Now, last thing we're gonna do. Hi, Phil. How are you, bud? Good to see you on here. I miss all you people. Not the job, the people. Not the job, just the people. Okay, now I have here my light soft seafoam Stampin' Blend and my light Pretty Peacock. And I'm going to color, what I did is before you came on, I stamped the holly images, the holly image from the Free Skate stamp set in Pretty Peacock on a piece of Whisper White, and I cut it out, and now I'm going to color it. And the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to use my soft seafoam. I'm going to put that down because that wasn't really working. In the middle. And then I'm going to come with the light Pretty Peacock around the edges. And blend like so. And then we'll do the other one the same way. And we'll repeat it one more time. Like that. You can always tell when I'm getting concentrated because I stop yakking, right? I'm like, I can't talk and color. Can't talk end color. Okay. Easy peasy. This is so very artistic, isn't it, the way I do this? Just, oh my goodness. Me and Van Gogh, we should have been, well, you know, brother and sister at the very least. Okay. And remember, if you do it quickly enough, you can get some good blend, even between the two very different colors. And if you guys are riddling me with questions and comments, please know I'm just staring intently at my leaves. I'm not blowing you off, I'm just not seeing them because I don't want to screw up my leaves. Okay, now we'll put some lids back on and then I'll look and see if we have it. Hey Donna, thank you for joining. Karen, yes, it's good to know that you use all your edges because it would be so odd of us to not, wouldn't it? Okay, now I'm going to take my light and dark cherry cobbler blends and color my little berry dudes here. And these are going to get covered up, so I'm not getting too het with it, but I just want it. You know, the things that are covered up on a card, to me, are like the backs of a cross stitch or a needlepoint piece. You don't see it. The people who own it or see it or sit on it or look at it don't see it. But you, as the crocheter or knitter, know whether it was correctly done or not, right? You know whether you left unfinished knots and long tails and other horrifying things like that. All right, now while I've got this out, I'm going to use my dark blend. Did you guys know you can do this? Of course you did. And I've got some Pearl Basic Jewels, and I'm going to color. Let me remind myself whether I did that. I don't think I put those on the inside, so I need to know how many to do. Nope, I didn't. Okay, so I'm going to do 2 little ones for each holly leaf and 2 larger ones, 1 for each holly leaf. We'll let that set for just a second, and I'm going to go ahead and adhere these on, and then I'll put the pearls on. How about that? Hey Judy, thank you for joining. Hi Patty Joe, appreciate you coming. All right. I'll put one on right there, and try to find that other one. And we'll put one on right here. Oh, come on, let go. There we go. Okay, so we'll give that just a half a second to get fully adhered, and then I'm going to pick up, I'm going to put the large one down here on the point, if you will. And then 1 small one on each of the other 2. She says. Have y'all gone and bought your EK tools, reverse tweezers yet? I hope you have. You know, I actually bought a second pair and I have no idea where it is. It's probably hidden in one of my massively organized organizational pieces. And that, folks, is the card front. All right, so let's go ahead and quick like a bunny do the inside and the envelope flap, and we will be done skin. You can get back to your weekend. Woohoo! Weekend! Woohoo! Okay. You know when you're retired, weekends don't mean anything? Phil, just saying. Just throwing that out there, Phil. That's for you, Phil. Thank you, Carol. Thank you. Thank you, ladies. I appreciate it. Okay, so I'm just going to put this Capture the Memories of the Season in. And I always like to be sure I know how straight or not straight it's going to be. All right, it'll be pretty close. If it's a little crookedy, it's handmade. It's handmade. There we go. And over the top, I'm going to stamp the snowflake image from Free Skate. I really like this image. It's one of my very favorite I love it. It's such pretty snowflakes. Isn't that pretty? So pretty. And then I'm going to do that on the card front, or on the front of the envelope flap as well. Thank you, Cindy. I appreciate that. And Sam, thank you. I'll take the pass on it being art. Okay, we'll set that aside, and then I'm going to add a holly leaf. And I'm going to put one on my inner liner too. Look at that. Rogue dimensional. Rogue dimensional. I'm going to put him right there. If you guys noticed anything different about my stamps? Have you noticed anything different about my stamps? Yes, all of a sudden I have started mounting the labels. I finally decided that I really wanted that extra placement help, and so I'm trying them, certainly with my holiday catalog stamps, to see how I like them. Let me just remind y'all of something. These, if you have not ever mounted the cling stamp labels, but you have mounted the clear mount ones, those are the old version, when you mount these, both sides are sticky. The side with the image printed on it is very sticky, okay? So don't be thrown by that when you mount it on your stamp. And you have to be real careful when you pick it up off of the block. You need to get under an edge and pick it up, or you will in fact separate that red part of the rubber from the white foam, I promise. And here's another little tip. Once you've mounted all of your stamps, if you hang on to the form and put it in your stamp case foam side up, then it gives you a nice little spot to be able to store your stamps and kind of keep them from going all over the place, okay? And you can also see what they are. So just a little experiment. I don't know if I'll get everything I own mounted. I certainly will not take a day and a half or 6 months to mount everything, but I thought I would give that a shot. Okay, so let's do some quick coloring. I'm going to pull out my envelope here as well. Now, on this envelope, when you're coloring with blends, you need to have a light touch on the front, or you need to put a piece of acetate, or like an old Stamp-O-Majig acetate, and be sure so that it doesn't bleed through. Okay, back to my cherry cobblers for some berries. Now these aren't going to be covered, so I'll probably be a little bit carefuler. I'm going to be a little bit carefuler. Maybe not a lot carefuler, because, you know, my careful level is kind of low sometimes. Okay, I'm talking softly so I don't screw up. Yeah, I'm glad it helps to have the stickers on there. I figured it kind of would, because it'll help you see what we're stamping with, right? Yeah. All right, and then I'm going to get out my two, these thingies, light soft sea foam and light pretty peacock, and color up my leaves right quick. And you'll see I'm doing one leaf at a time so that I have time to blend while everything is still juicy. Just saying. Juicy is good when you're trying to blend. And if you could see, I'm not sure if you can see it, but you can actually see the blending taking place. Just say, it's like a miracle. It's a blending miracle. It's a miracle. All right. And here we go. Okay, there's that one. Now, you're going to notice I'm going pretty quick on this envelope flap, and I am not pressing down very hard. In fact, I'm consciously keeping the tip just barely on the envelope because I have not put anything underneath it, and I don't want it to bleed to the back. Okay, so that's just my way of doing it. I could also stick my old Stamp-N-Majig acetate inside the envelope to protect the back. That's actually the most surefire way to be sure you don't ruin an envelope. I'm taking a risk here, just taking a risk. Hanging it all out there, people. Hanging it all out there for you. Okay. And there we go. I really like that soft seafoam and pretty peacock for those hollies, don't you? I think they're so pretty. And then let's give this a little bit of glimmer shimmer. Pat them on my pat. Yes, that helps too. On your pant leg is a good idea. You could probably tap them a little bit with your embossing buddy to help. But boy, I gotta say, it is really nice to be able to put a stamp on a block and it just stays there. Of course, it also stays on the bottom of your Stamparatus, on the side of your trimmer, under a stamp pad, on the underneath of your computer. So, you know, when you lose one, look under everything, because that's where it is, I promise. Okay, now we'll just mount this on a soft seafoam mat. Come on. Okay, there we go. Alrighty. There we go. And this pretty peacock, soft seafoam, and cherry cobbler. It's a good color combo. I like it. Okay, and into my cherry cobbler card base this goes. And then we'll put the card front on with, yes, you got it, Stampin' Dimensionals. Oh, come on. Get off of there, dimensional person. Oh, you dimensional fool, you. There we go. All right. Okie dokie, we're almost there, people. Almost there. Can you guys even believe that it is almost October? I mean, dude, where is the year going? I told Wayne today we are going to look up and be 90, 100 years old and go, what in the world have we been waiting on? Goodness gracious. Do you think the second part of your life is like you know how when your gas tank is like on 2/3 or 1/3, when it's like on 1/3, all of a sudden the gas level goes down way faster than it did when it was full? Do you think that's how the downhill side of life is, where the first part just goes and goes and goes, and then you hit like 50 or 60 and it goes really fast? I mean, do you think that's how it is? Or do you think it's like the first part of your life is like a work week and the last part of your life is like a weekend? You know how that time warp happens. I don't know, it's weird, but it just seems like every time I look up it's another video day, it's another Tuesday newsletter. What in the world? The days are just flying by. It's a little bit scary. And there we go, folks. Now, if you wanted more bling, you could actually probably use a couple of pretty peacock rhinestones from the Noble Peacock Rhinestone Pack if you wanted, but I decided to leave it right there in a fit of not over gemifying. I decided to leave it like that. Okay, so we'll just add a little DSP. Thank you, Jean. Hey, Sue. Right? It feels like I'm on a freaking toboggan. Goodness. And we'll just put a little of that on there. Now I'm going to show you something. This piece was a 6x6 piece of paper. And that leaves you a little bitty edge there that it doesn't cover. But that is okay, because we're just going to fussy cut that off. There's still plenty of stickum to stickamize the flap down when you go to close this card. I promise. Okay, so just cut that edge and then just make a nice little straight cut across. Nobody will ever know the difference. Right like that. And done. What you think? So, free skate stamp set. And it's bundled detailed skate die. And then for some just pretty texture. These are really, you know, these are like the die equivalent of a texture stamp. These are texture die cuts to add pretty dimension and pretty interest to your card front. So I highly recommend Christmas Layers, and you might as well get it in the bundle with the itty bitty Christmas stamp set. All right, guys, I will see you next week. Right now, as it goes, I plan to be here next Saturday with you. So I hope you have a great week. Head over to the clearance rack. Do not let me find out you guys didn't get those Stamp-N-Right markers. That would just be wrong. All right, guys. Thanks so much. I appreciate you spending the evening with me. Have a good one. Bye.